Oh, right. Time for another autism vlog. Of course. I'm sorry you had to see that. It's just I'm still in the middle of recovery from last weekend. Both me and Thomas, for that matter. Mostly because last weekend, Thomas and I decided to go to some conventions. You know, to go have fun, meet new people, socialize, you know, that kind of whole spiel. What is a convention? Well, if I had to put it in the simplest term, it's basically when a bunch of people with common interest over a subject all gather together in this huge building and whatnot in order to meet new people, network with others, and overall showcase their love and passion for the subject in question. There are many kinds of conventions out there. There are like anime conventions like Otakon, the one I went to. There are conventions that focus more on gaming, like SmashCon, the one that Thomas went to, as well as photography conventions, videography conventions, nature, cars. There are conventions of all kinds out there. But enough about that, I'm just being sidetracked. I need to talk about autism today. Oh, wait a minute. But what if there are autistics that want to go to conventions, but want to know how to get the most fun out of going to a convention? Oh, I know! How about going over 10 tips on how to go to a convention? Okay, I'm still in the middle of recovery. Get off my back! Now, before we get too deep into the 10 tips for going to a convention, there are a couple other factors to take into consideration for when it comes to autistics going to a convention. Some of these different factors include stress and overstimulation, as well as how a given environment can affect an autistic individual. Now, I've already done a couple of vlogs on these subjects in the past, so I won't be going into too much details about those. So if you want to learn about those different areas in particular, go ahead and click the video links in the description down below. I'll leave a couple links for you guys. So with that out of the way, let's get to it. Convention tip number 1, use the buddy system. Never roam alone. Guys, this is not only a tip, this is a rule. Individuals under a certain age must be with a parent or guardian at all times. But why is this a rule, you may ask? Well, for those who have never been to a convention before, they can get crowded. Really crowded, like DC and New York Metro kind of crowded. And unfortunately, with those large crowds, younger folks are more susceptible to things like physical harassment, theft, and God forbid, kidnapping. And yes, these things can happen, but you can reduce the risk of that happening by traveling in pairs or even in groups, because in this particular situation, strength does lie in numbers. Now, in the event where a convention staff member sees a young individual by themselves with no parent or guardian, they should stop that individual and help look for the parent or guardian immediately. But don't always bet on that. Always travel together. Trust me, they don't teach you that in Boy Scouts for nothing. Convention tip number 2, pack light. Don't bring anything that you're not prepared to lose, because everybody loves free stuff. Some a lot more than others, and are willing to go to greater lengths to get them, even if that means pickpocketing and just outright stealing and whatnot. And whenever potential thieves see huge events like conventions, one of the thoughts that's probably going through their heads is, oh, look at all the stuff I can steal from other people. But again, you can reduce the risk of this happening by bringing only a few stuff with you, keeping it all in one place, like maybe a big handbag, or in my case, a backpack, and most importantly, keep track of everything you have. Like, whenever you're going to go to one spot in a convention place to another spot, or if you're like going to and or from the convention place, do an inventory check. Make sure you have every single item with you before you leave that area, especially if you've been to a store place or the dealer's room. Now, in the event where you're at the convention and you find out that one or more of your items is missing, do not panic. All convention areas should have a lost and found area that you can go to find your stuff and get it back. Like for me, for example, I was going to a panel and I forgot this backpack, which had everything in it. But a staff member assured me that it was going to be in the lost and found area, so I just went over there, signed some documents, and verified everything was in this backpack, and then I just left. But not before writing my name on some wall of shame, unfortunately. You know darn well why! Convention tip number 3, keep hydrated. Bring a water bottle with you. Now, throughout your time during the convention, you're most likely going to be moving from one place to another place and another place after that. That means you're going to be moving around a lot, getting your exercise, moving through huge crowds of people, and all that energy is going to leave you exhausted. That's why it's important to remember to drink water during your time there. Now, there should be plenty of bathrooms and water fountains throughout the convention center, so you can always drop by to those. Or you can carry 1 or 2 water bottles with you in your backpack or a carrying case or whatever. That way, if you ever feel the urge, just crack out your water bottle, get a couple drinks in, then just put it away and move on. But whatever you do, please remember to drink water. The last thing you want is to be dehydrated at a convention center. Convention tip number 4. Remember to clean up after yourself. Pick up your trash and throw it away. This is pretty self-explanatory. If you made a mess or see a mess, remember to clean it up, pick up the trash and throw it away. Not only do you keep the environment clean, you also make it easier for the convention staff as well. Plus, it's just straight up rude to just leave trash there and wait for someone else to pick it up or step or slip on and whatnot. So, pretty self-explanatory. On to the next tip. Convention tip number 5. Be sure to have a map of the convention center with you. Now, these maps can be easily acquired at an information booth at the convention center. And trust me, these maps will make your time at the convention much easier. Because with this, along with the schedule that comes with it, you can easily figure out where you need to go and how you need to get there. Let's say, for example, I need to go to a panel to go to a Q&A session. Let's say I want to go to panel number 1, which is right here. You probably can't see it. So there's panel number 1, and let's say I'm all the way down here. So with this, I know that I need to go 2 floors up, a little further up, and then to the left in order to get to the panel. It may seem simple, but trust me guys, a map will help you a lot during your time at the convention. Convention tip number 6. Plan ahead. Here's the general rule of thumb I use whenever going to convention centers and whatnot. If you're 30 minutes early, you're on time. If you're on time, you're late. And if you're late, it's unacceptable. Never plan to go to an event right at the start time, because the majority of the time the event's going to be filled up and the staff will have no choice but to turn you away, unless they can somehow squeeze you and a few people in, but don't count on it. Always plan to get to an event 30 minutes before it starts. Does this mean you're going to have to wait in a line? Yes, but you do guarantee yourself a spot in the event, especially if you're going to like autograph sessions for like Vic Mignogna, Kyle Hebert, Travis Willingham. Those lines fill up fast, so you want to get there like 45 minutes to an hour in advance. That way you guarantee your spot in a line. But whatever event you're going to, plan to get there early, not on time. Convention tip number 7. Bring cash with you. Avoid using your credit or debit card. There are 3 reasons as to why. Number 1, if you're traveling from out of state and you use your credit or debit card out of state, your bank is going to get suspicious and most likely freeze your account, thus cutting you off from any other money in your account. So you're going to have to call them, go through this long and tedious process to get your account unlocked. Reason number 2, there are some areas where your credit card or debit card won't work, especially if the store place in question is underground. Like when Oticon used to be held in Baltimore, none of the credit card or debit card receiver things could work underground, which was where the dealer's room was. So everybody had to bring cash. So if you're just bringing a credit and debit card with you to a convention place, that's basically the equivalent of going up a creek without a paddle. Okay, I know I got that expression right somehow. And reason number 3, it reduces the risk of credit or debit fraud. It doesn't take that long for someone to get access to your card or figure out how to get into your account and start buying really expensive stuff. So it's another reason to avoid using credit or debit cards. And at the end of the convention, be sure to check your bank account as soon as possible. That way, if you see something suspicious like, say someone spent $500 on your account to buy a huge sword and whatnot, you can let the bank know, hey, I did not make that purchase, and they'll do what they can to get your money back and stop them from stealing any more money from you. Convention tip number 8. Be considerate, especially if you're going to like autograph sessions or photographing cosplayers. You need to understand that the stars you see there and the cosplayers there are more than just figures. They're human beings with their own agendas, and you need to respect that. So when going to an autograph session, feel free to have a nice little chat with them and whatnot, but don't take too long. There are other people waiting behind you to get the same autograph and whatnot, or maybe a little bit more. And when it comes to cosplayers, if you want to photograph them, ask permission first. Make sure they have the time to get a photograph and not in a rush to go to an event. And if you do get permission from them to photograph, don't drag them to the opposite side of the convention center just because you think that place is prettier. You have to be ready to photograph them then and there. Don't take too much of their time and move on. So long as you're considerate to other people, they'll be considerate to you. That's the basic concept of respect. Convention tip number 9. Follow the rules of the convention place. Now, the rules may vary depending on which convention you're going to, but be sure you familiarize yourself with the rules and follow all of them. They are there to keep you safe and to make sure things run orderly at the convention place. If a staff member catches you breaking the rules, they may give you a warning or even go as far as taking your badge and kicking you out of the convention. So if you want to avoid that, please read the rules and make sure you follow them. And just because other people are breaking the rules doesn't mean you should. After all, the badges are very hard to get already. You don't want to lose them. And finally, convention tip number 10. Just remember to have fun. I mean, come on, you're paying a lot to get the badge to the convention place, and there's like the hotel fees, the travel fees, and whatnot. You might as well get your money's worth from the convention place. Go out there, have fun, make friends, play around, learn new things. Whatever you do, just make sure you're having fun. So, let's do a quick overview, shall we? Number 1, use the buddy system. Number 2, pack light. Number 3, keep hydrated. Number 4, pick up the trash. Number 5, use a map. Number 6, plan ahead. Number 7, bring cash. Number 8, be considerate. Number 9, follow the rules of the convention. And number 10, have fun. So long as you remember these 10 tips, you'll get the best experience possible out of your time at the convention center. And on that note, I'm going to end the vlog here. Thank you very much for watching, ladies and gentlemen. If you like what you saw, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to stay up to date on the latest vlogs. Also, what do you think? Do you think these tips are pretty good for following during your time at a convention place? Or are there other tips that you would recommend to newcomers? Let us know in the comments down below. Let's start a conversation here and whatnot. Also, if you want to check out the photos I took during my time at Oticon, feel free to check out the Facebook album links I'll leave in the video description down below. And I think that's pretty much it. So thank you very much for watching, ladies and gentlemen, and until the next video, see you later.